Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Actualizing Self. My guest today is Leo Babauta. He is a very successful writer and blogger at Zen Habits. He lives here in San Francisco, previously in Guam, and I'm very happy to have him today because he's been influential on my life because of his great writing and commonalities when it comes to mindfulness and productivity. And so I'm very happy to have him today. Leo, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this stuff.
Great. Yeah, I saw you at the Samovar event, I guess about a month ago, and
Yes.
was really drawn to want to kind of start to reach out to you and see if we could do an interview. So this is a real pleasure for me.
Well, it's an honor for me. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks. So in other interviews that I've done, I've tried to ask a very basic framing question to folks, and that question is, what does it mean to you to be a purposeful entrepreneur? What is that?
Sure.
What comes up for you when you hear that?
So for me, what that means is it means consciousness. So it's like living a conscious life.
Mm.
And so I think a lot of times we dive into things and kind of get lost in the minutia and getting things done. But for me, it's more about taking a step back and really thinking, like, why am I doing this in the first place? What am I trying to accomplish? Who am I doing it for? Like what makes me happy? All of these questions I think are really good to ask and think about, and then you let that come together into a purpose, the whole reason that you get up in the morning and do any of this stuff. And so once you have that purpose, that can then drive all of your decisions and drive motivate you to work hard on something that might be really difficult to get done. So I think a lot of times we have a dip in motivation, and if we have a purpose, that can help us get through that dip. And it also helps guide us as we because there's tons of decisions that we have to make on a daily basis and over the long term. And if you have some kind of purpose, that kind of gives you a little bit of a compass. And that has helped me tremendously in the last, I think, 7-8 years since I've been doing this kind of business. Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing that you're kind of bringing up, because you have a really nice balance between getting things done, kind of leaning in and really creating, and also stepping out and really taking perspective on the whole thing and kind of just becoming more aware about why you're doing things. So I mean, how does that affect? How does that play out in your life? I mean, do you consciously practice certain things that are basically taking you out to kind of reflect upon why?
Yeah, I mean, I think well, first of all, it's a learning process, right? So it's not like I just came up with a method and then followed that religiously for the next 7-8 years.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's more of once in a while stepping back, and the more often you can do that, the better. And just asking, what am I doing here? Does this make any sense?
Yeah.
What drives me? Why do people even come to my site? What are they looking for? What problems do they have in their lives? So ask all those kinds of things, but you have to kind of step back, and then you might say, well, I've been doing things this way for a while. Does that really make the most sense?
Mm.
And so again, it's a learning process, and I say, well, I tried that, and I didn't really feel great about it. It seemed right at the time, but now that I look back on it, I didn't feel good about that. And so you kind of adjust, and over time, I think you build a process and values and principles that work for you. But even that, I think, is in constant flux.
Yeah.
You have to kind of, to me, that's an exciting thing. Some people are kind of scared by not having a very solid foundation that's always going to be there. And for me, that's actually something that I embrace, because just having this thing that's always changing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that are going to be the same, but at the same time, there's always going to be new things that I'm learning and changes to that method and all these ideas that I've been working from. And I look back on the evolution of my blog and how I've done things, and in myself, and I can see tremendous change.
Yeah.
And that's
a common theme, it seems.
Yeah, I think that's amazing when you look back and you see that progress, and you're like, wow, I used to be like this, and now I'm like this. You know, I'm not necessarily better, but I think I've learned a lot
Mm.
that's helping me today to be happier and to do better things for people.